And even though it looks ridiculously crooked, it's not crooked.
You can clap.
You know, Roger hates the crooked.
Is that what we're doing now?
You have no choice but to do that.
I have all the choices,
You
Terry.
freaking clap.
They ain't no snap. What is going on, everybody? This is Almost in Full Color. We are back with our second podcast.
Number 2.
You know who it is at the table. We got Gaines to my right. You got Keith right here, Terry, and Roger.
Follow Keith's point.
Ghost jerk off. That's his ghost stick.
Anyways, today, well, it's the most wonderful time of the year, not Christmas. It is almost E3. It's right around the corner, which means a lot of predictions, a lot of stuff going on. So first and foremost, are we excited for E3 or not so excited?
I mean, it's E3, but it's not E3 this year since it's going to be pretty much, no PlayStation?
Yeah.
No PlayStation.
No Nintendo. Nintendo has it.
Nintendo is going to
They're coming back?
They're doing their entire day thing again.
Oh, okay. So I guess Sony left and Nintendo was like, yeah, we'll take that spot. So is Xbox going to be there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, then it's not too bad. I mean, I wish Sony was there. We know Xbox, they don't have games. They're not going to bring anything. We might show a futuristic VCR or something. But I'm looking forward to that.
Hey, Microsoft, if you're listening, we will enjoy your sponsorship at one time.
No, we don't. Once you sponsor us, I'll leave this channel.
Oh, you're right.
Please don't sponsor us. Despite us.
I took all the oxygen out the room.
Roger, you doing this E3?
A few moments later.
Okay.
Roger, how do you feel about E3? This year's E3 in particular.
It'll be interesting with Sony not involved anymore. That does take a lot of the games that I know we always look forward to. So we'll have Nintendo. We'll have Xbox. PC as I group into the Xbox window, so there'll be games. Contrary to the other comment.
Oh yeah, PC. I didn't think about that.
But other than that, it's normal E3. There were some like preview clips we've been kind of seeing, but nothing that I'm like, oh, I definitely need to watch E3. It's my normal pattern of I'm going to turn it on. Not really big looking forward to it immediately.
Yeah, I have no choice kind of to watch it. Apparently Nintendo's revealing a bunch of stuff this year, so.
They better release freaking Luigi's Mansion 3. Well, not release it, but at least show it off.
I think they're showing it. Well, they haven't spoken. There's a Nintendo Direct coming up soon, before E3, so.
They probably won't show too much. Might be some teasers, and then be like, kind of like with the other trailer, like, oh, we'll show you more in June.
Yeah,
it's like,
probably.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I mean, it's like one of those things every year you have to watch, regardless of whatever's in it.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing for gaming.
So,
I mean, still.
Yeah.
Even with people not being there, it's just still like...
You have no choice but to like kind of just tune in and be like, all right, let's see what's going on, even though this developer or studio I hate or publisher, whatever. So I'll watch it.
Yeah.
It'll be something in the background.
So we just touched upon it, but with Sony not being at the big stage and them doing their state of plays, is that better for them? Do you think that's the better route, or do you think a big blow up at E3 would have been the better way to go?
I don't mind the state of plays because I'm, as long as they're not as inconsistent as Nintendo Directs are, because Nintendo Directs we probably get one every 3 months. I think so far state of play has been every month. I think. I don't remember if they did one last month.
I couldn't tell you. The only thing is, since they're like kicking it off, they might be more frequent. But as it cements itself in, it's like, oh, this is Sony's new thing. It might go to like Nintendo Directs to where they're like, we're not going to show everything every month, you know, and kind of break it up. And it also gives you more time to actually make something.
True. I mean, they're meant to be teasers. The state of play they just played was Monster Hunter World, Final Fantasy VII, and
the Predator game, I think.
That and Medieval, I think is what.
Make it a Predator game?
Yeah.
Like
Predator
Aliens
game.
vs Predator?
It's just Predator from what I saw. But,
Get to the
chopper.
So I don't know. The state of the play things, they're fine, I guess.
I mean, people are gonna watch them, and I'm assuming they're doing their state of play in the same week of E3, kind of like how Nintendo did theirs.
They have one lined up for
so
that time frame.
As long as you're in the week, you're still gonna capture everyone who's tuning in for E3. Like they're gonna want to watch to see what Sony's doing, even if Microsoft did their own thing. People are still gonna be like, I at least want to see what you're offering because during that week, everyone's kind of locked into, let's see what the latest and greatest is, what new things are coming about, what new things can they tell us is going to be this way, and then we get it, and it's not, all those great E3 traditions. You got to have a couple of those games in there that promise you the world and give you nothing. So,
like Kingdom Hearts took 4 years.
But they gave you a lot. They gave you a lot when they came out. It was a good game. You didn't think it was a good game?
No, I did.
Okay, then. So, I mean, sometimes you have to wait for the good stuff. You just can't be opening your chastity belt for everyone.
So, yeah, I think this is probably the better route to go. As we know, there's E3, Tokyo Game Show, Gamescom, Paris Games Week. There's all these events all the time, so you kind of end up burning out in terms of what you have to show off because we don't know what Death Stranding is still. So...
Don't worry about what it is. It's a Kojima special.
You've probably been playing it for years and didn't even know it.
Our feeble minds can't comprehend what he's doing.
I don't even
It's
think
not
it's
God like he is.
Will he even be at E3 this year? Because this is Sony
Well,
game.
I mean,
isn't it?
Sony exclusive.
So it'll probably be Sony's little
So they may
direct
show it
thing.
off at State of Play for their
state of play. That's what it is.
whatever they're gonna do.
And
Who
if
knows?
that week, that's probably when they're going to show it.
Might be. We don't know. But all in all, I think it's just to slow stream out whatever, 3 games here, 3 games there type deal. So ultimately, I'm cool with it.
They better show more than 3 damn games during the E3
During
week,
the E3
though.
week, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Come with all the
Well.
shit. And then later on, you can do like little updates. Kind of like Nintendo does.
Everybody's craving freaking Pokemon news at this point.
We'll probably get it in E3.
Probably before it. That's my guess.
You think so?
Nintendo Direct is right before it.
Oh, okay.
So
So Xbox, all the pressure is on them right now. I feel like this is a pivotal moment for Xbox. What does Xbox have to do or promise? What needs to come out of Xbox's camp at E3 to get people excited or keep their current fan base with them?
Let Roger take this.
Well,
one.
it's
He's the Xbox
interesting
guy.
because last year they were promoting PC, like this cross-play stuff with that and all, and it seems like Windows is kind of almost going, Microsoft is going away from like console per se to this global platform. Windows, once I mentioned it, they're kind of doing the same thing on their OSs, so it seems like the game's actually following along. So a lot there. The problem still is exclusives. They don't have much that keep people around. Like, I love Forza. You're in a unique market already with Forza. So
Yeah,
it's hard to get people over. And then with Crackdown kind of not doing too well, they need something. So but they always have Halo in their back pocket. So if they do something with Halo, you're going to win some people over.
Don't they have a Halo game in the works?
They had a
They
previewed
teased it
one,
last
yeah.
year,
Oh, okay.
Halo Infinite.
But they're also
And then you
bringing
got
Halo to
Gear.
PC.
And Gears, that will bring some people back.
Yeah.
Not as much as Halo, but that'll still keep it alive. So if they can hit with those two, they'll probably have a good success, but it'll be interesting afterwards.
I don't know. I feel like every year we always say, this is Xbox year. They got to do something. Yeah, I think we should probably just stop saying that.
But this is their year.
Nah, I think we should stop. They let us down last year. So
Well, I mean, Sony's not going to be at the big stage, so it's
Still.
on you.
I feel like
Huh?
Sony can still come in and be like, watch this, and then just
I mean,
slam
obviously-
something on the table.
Well, you already know Sony's going to hit you with Last of Us 2. Like, that's going to be, like, the nuke. Like, you're getting that, and that's probably going to be the best game at E3 if it's there. I find it hard-pressed. Any game that's going to come out is probably be better than that game. Just because that line all the way from Uncharted to Last of Us is pretty much banger after banger, and it just got better and better and better. I mean, you can argue Uncharted 3. Some people didn't like Uncharted 3. Not as much as 2 and 4. But anyway, back to Microsoft. I feel like Microsoft is fine, though. To be honest, like, even though I always hate on Microsoft, with this whole new movement of everything becoming crossplay, like Roger said, not just with PC, but a lot of games from PlayStation are becoming slowly crossplay. Like, which I believe, if you're already letting PC in, you're pretty much already letting Microsoft in. True. It's not much of a difference between letting Microsoft in on PC and not Xbox. So sooner or later, that little wall is going to start to erode.
I think that's more of the developer side, though.
But what I'm saying is Sony at first put their foot down and was like, we'll never do crossplay, period. And then all of a sudden, the bigger games that everyone loved, like Fortnite and then DC, I mean, even a game that wasn't even as big, like DC, made them go crossplay. They ended up letting PC players on, so it's like Sony slowly let it start happening. And once you let a couple people do it, every big game that comes out that's on more than one platform is going to be like, why aren't we just bringing in the whole community as one, so everything, all our quality of life changes, everything can be for everybody. Yeah. And that'll help Microsoft. So say if you only have like 10,000 people that's playing one game, but Sony has 1 million, no, on Xbox you are actually playing with 1,010,000 people. You know, you don't need everyone to be on Xbox to play with them.
Yeah, I think they can go the Fortnite route where it was just like mixed inputs. Same way they do with keyboard and mouse and Xbox and PlayStation, they can make it so like, hey, you're queuing up or you're about to play against people that are on mouse and keyboard. Do you want to get into that lobby or do you just want to stay on your own console? I'm sure they can figure out something with that. Granted, I still think that's probably a developer side and more so.
Well, it makes it easier too because how Xbox and Windows development is, they're trying to make it developer-wise the same thing. So whatever you write runs on both. They're working towards that. So then you already gain almost an inherent cross-platform at that point if you can write it all. So then developers have an easier time of Xbox PC just plays together, and then you're kind of almost cutting out Sony, or they have to do special work.
Yeah, I can see a bunch of developers if Microsoft's like, hey, you can come play with people on PC, or we'll allow cross-play if you come over here. I think Sony at that point will have to kind of cave in some more. Be like, hey, all right, fine. We're done buying like out all the exclusives. We'll allow crossplay at some point.
I don't know, they have to keep buying the exclusive stuff. That's Sony's thing. Like, they have all.
Well, I'm talking about like, I guess in this sense, like how Call of Duty has exclusives for like a month ahead of everybody else.
Well, they did that with Destiny.
Well, yeah, they did that for a year.
I mean, I don't even know if Destiny exists on the Xbox.
Yeah, it does. But
no one played it though. It was like they were a year behind or something.
It's the exclusivity. PlayStation buys it out for an entire year. You can't get certain things.
Yeah, and then you know it's out there because you see the people on PlayStation enjoying it, and you're like, this blows. Like,
I don't know. They would have to do something. What that is, I don't know. I'm not a developer or publisher or whatever, so I don't know the in and outs.
Keith, fight for Microsoft.
So, Microsoft, for me, has two kind of routes, and I'm unsure which one they take. PS5 is rumored to be coming out next year. Do you come out and fight with that after you just built the 1S? Was it 1S there?
No, that was
came out for a while back. Yeah. They only released the discless thing recently.
It's supposed to be the Xbox.
What was the high tier one? The Scorpion. Well, the Scorpion was a code name.
One X.
Okay, Xbox One X.
The Scorpion was the dev name, I think.
But the PS4 did the PS4 Plus around the same time.
True,
so.
But Microsoft touted that this was the strongest console and all this stuff. So you just keep going with that and just pushing out games and trying to build around that for the time being. See what the PS5 is like, and then try to outclass that. No. So, like, either that's kind of the two roads. Either A, you come out with the PS5.
That was the PS3's downfall.
And you try to do it again. Or B, you wait for the PS5 to drop, kind of see what the competition's doing, and then
beat them to the punch, Keith. That's what they have to do.
Well, they tried it with the Xbox
but those
One X,
weren't
and it didn't really take off the way they thought.
I know I talked to two games about this before to decide is I don't think hardware wins the battle. Like I don't. Yeah, so the exclusive stuff still wins. I mean, look at the Switch. That's laughable hardware wise, but a lot of people are buying the Switch now because they have some good games. Like
they have the same games.
Well, they're
the only people who can constantly push out a Mario.
They're grabbing them remakes though, like the Final Fantasy and stuff like that. So they're starting to add more adult games, I would put it. And
Even Mortal Kombat 11's on there.
Yeah.
It doesn't run bad at all.
Oh, really?
It's like very
the guy
shocking.
at GameStop was trying to get me to buy it on Switch. I was like,
It's very, very shocking that it runs pretty good on there.
So yeah, I think it's more software. I think you have to work on that because, like you mentioned, the PS3 was very good hardware-wise compared to Xbox 360.
it was just hard to develop for it too. Like people hated
that's
that
when
part,
the Xbox had a lot more exclusives at that point.
Yeah, they had Halo. Essentially, they had their flag game of Halo. That was when Halo was in the super prime. They also had Call of Duty.
and the Gears.
Gears, too. Like, they had games. So that's why everybody was on Xbox, whereas PlayStation, it was just like...
And the whole online community was better.
Yeah,
Well, the online gameplay aspect. I mean, you had party chat, you had all that
way
stuff.
better.
PlayStation 3 struggled with that for years.
So if they can get some new IPs, that might be actually a better route to go. If I know it'd be risky, but
That's why I said they should do a whole new system, like a next gen system for real. Because the PS4 Plus and the Xbox One X, they weren't really new generation systems. They were like almost it was like going from like a 1070 to a 1080 or something. Like you didn't change it like night and day, but you did get a nice boost. So it's like people were looking at it like, oh, I could still play that same game on my PS4. Yeah. You know, I don't really need the Plus because there was no game that was Plus exclusive. Everything played on both, which is...
I never bought the Plus.
See?
So,
Exactly.
I bought it because I was like, the biggest thing they kept saying is like, hey, you can play this game on here and it runs completely like, it's different, it's smoother.
I mean, the games did run better.
They
Final
ran
Fantasy
better.
ran better. It's just... you could still play it. And
Yeah,
if you
you
never
still play
knew
it.
what you were missing, it would never
the
matter
jump
to you.
didn't matter because it was almost like you gained like 10 frames if you did anything to most of my TV's 1080, so I went and got the 4K.
I got 4K, so I don't know what y'all talking about. I can play my games in, what is it, upscaled 4K is what they are? Yeah.
Terry, you play on a gaming monitor. Stop lying to the people. He has a 4K TV, but he doesn't play games on his TV.
Yeah, you're an idiot if you play on a 4K TV.
See? The guy at Best Buy tried to get me about gaming when I bought the TV yesterday with Roger. But that's a different topic. But
Get control of this group.
Microsoft, they got like 5 or 6 dev teams that they had brought on board. 2 of them need to show off something great at this E3. Ninja Theory needs to be one of those 2.
Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory has to be one of the 2 that
Imagine
you need
a
a
new Ninja
familiar
Gaiden.
face. Yeah.
On a
Ninja
new
Gaiden
system.
on only for Xbox.
Yes.
That would be like a great thing for Microsoft. So 2 of those dev teams need to come out and just show something crazy. Maybe a nice little indie game too, because people love indie games. I don't know.
What's wrong with indie games?
Yeah.
He said
I
people
said
love
people
him.
love them.
I don't know. That was a little side comment.
Yeah.
His hand was kind of like brushing to the
It
side
was
while
like,
he was talking.
indie developers.
His body language told on him. He wasn't really happy for indie developers.
So we saw Final Fantasy VII Remake trailer, and any first impressions about it? Were you okay with it?
I mean, it again. So many things have changed from the first time they released it back in 2015, 2014. I think it's the same time they released
The
it.
game or the trailer?
The trailer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about the trailer.
Like
We're
the game
talking
came
about
back out. When?
No, so the first time they showed the trailer, again, I like to comment back on Keith's little fangirl moment when he was screaming and standing up at the time. It looked good then. They changed up a lot of it since then. So
That was a crazy day.
It
Everyone was
was.
kind of looking at the TV. It was like, God, that music sounds familiar. But you're like telling yourself, like, no, I'm going crazy. And then you see it and you're like, damn, what the fuck? That looks new. That was a great trailer. I don't know how the hell they kept that under wraps. Like something that big, because you knew like the reaction was going to be really like a holy shit moment. To not get that leaked at all, that was impressive. That was the most impressive part about that trailer to me.
Mm-hmm.
Was that nothing got out. They probably killed so many people in the streets.
But then you fast forward 3 years and it's been delayed till 2022 at this point. I think.
I don't even know when it comes out.
Yeah, the last investors call says between 2019 and 2022.
Yeah.
So
That's a hell of a gap.
yeah, it's the same thing they did to Kingdom Hearts, where it was between 17 and 2020. And then eventually they were just like, yo, get this game out now. So, I don't know. Final Fantasy VII, it looks different now compared to the last trailer we saw, so we'll see.
I mean, I like the game, and I like the way it looks. I don't like the battle system. I'm not a fan of taking, like, if it was like how 15 came out. 15 was a completely new Final Fantasy, so you can do whatever you want with the battle system because you don't have anything, like any foundation to play off, even though I felt like they pretty much played off of X-2's battle system, which was like the very first beta run with those dress spheres. Then they kind of brought it over to 13, and then all the 13 series, and then they kind of really made it, like, I guess perfected it for 15. 15 was like really smooth, but with 7, you already know what the battle system was, so it's like, why would you change it? I don't feel like they needed to change the battle system at all. They should have just kept it the same.
I think the only reason they changed it is because, granted, a turn-based system is cool. They're not bad. There's nothing wrong with them. But I think if you're going to bring out Final Fantasy 7-ish kind of year as a remake of what it was before, I think you have to upgrade the battle system.
But why? The majority of people who's buying is people who got 7. Like, no one's going to look at this like, oh my God, what's this new game that I've never heard of? Like, pretty much if you play games, mostly you know about it. They might maybe grab like 10%, maybe less of new people who be like, I don't know what this is, but I'm just going to buy it. The majority is nostalgia fans like, oh my God, they finally remade 7, and I'm going to buy it regardless.
Yeah. I mean, this is coming from someone that has never played Final Fantasy 7, so I'm going to pick it up because I like the hack and slash kind of thing. It reminds me of Kingdom Hearts. So, Kingdom Hearts / like Final Fantasy 15. So
I don't like it because it reminds me of Dirge of Cerberus. It's like they took Final Fantasy 7 and was playing Dirge of Cerberus and was like, what if Cloud could do this, what Vincent is doing? And it was like, all right, we're going to make this happen in the new one. I don't like that, but I mean, I'm going to buy it, so whatever. Take my money.
Outside of the battle system, which I have mixed feelings about, but I can talk 30 minutes about that.
How do you feel about watching Eris die in this 4K resolution?
I don't know if I'm going to be happy with it.
Okay.
I don't know. But outside of that, okay, from
I just said everyone who's playing the game already knows about it.
so outside of that,
I just spoiled it for all 90 people that's going to watch this. Like I ended the world. Go ahead, Guy, I'm sorry.
We love our subscribers.
But coming from, looking at little block people run around and do things, now being able to see them and just it's like crazy how I imagine this was what it was
Keith's
like.
Looking forward to seeing Tifa.
Okay, I actually am. I actually am.
Hey Keith, why did you sign off PlayStation? I'll be right back.
But from I think like the older generation when they had Mario, like the first one that dropped, and then you came like maybe Mario 64. That probably was like just a super like wow, look how times have changed. Now I feel like I'm going through what they went through with Final Fantasy 7 and like even like Crash Bandicoot and all that stuff. How it looked then versus what we have now, it's like absolutely ridiculous. So I'm very the voice acting was really good. That was something I was very, very. JRPGs have like this real cringy. I'm just gonna play with Japanese and subtitles because I don't want to listen to the
they
cringe.
suck as dub.
And,
well,
and the dub for this sounds actually
Sucks.
really good. Like I was like, all right, cool. I can play in English on this. And,
Yeah, I mean, you gotta think they're made for Japanese voices, really.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, they just kind of.
There's
Let's throw this.
loss in translation.
Yeah, let's throw this English in there now, and it doesn't match up. But
no, it's a loss in translation between Japanese and English. That's the biggest thing. Something that they say sounds probably perfect in Japanese, and then when it comes to English, it's like, oh yeah, it's over there. It's like what?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that's all I say.
So this kind of links right into the next topic. So Roger, do you feel that we kind of live in an age where information is consumed at a high rate? So do you feel like all these trailers that drop, do you feel like that ruins gaming? Like, do you feel like, all this information that you get about a game, and when you finally get your hands on it, you're like, oh, I kind of knew about everything that could possibly, like, there is no more surprise for me? Or does that help you become, like, more informed about what you're buying? And you're like, well,
yes or no?
I knew I would like this, so,
It's a mix, because, like, even with the Final Fantasy 7 trailer, if I knew nothing about the game, I didn't really find out much there.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is you get so much information early. We just talked about it might come out in 2022. Like, and we've been seeing the game since 2015, I think it was. So it's like, you kind of make this cloud of fuzziness of, I know this game. I heard about this some time ago, so I don't think you're really gaining much there. And the problem we always have, which hasn't changed, is you'll see a trailer, and when you get the game, it looks nothing like it because it's all cinematic. So I don't feel like you lost anything there. But yeah, it just seems like we get too much information now, and I don't even know if it's really helpful, bad, because I'm always in a confused state of I don't know release dates anymore. I'm just like, oh, I remember hearing about this game. Oh, it comes out next week. It's kind of like that surprise to me.
Yeah, no, it's the E3 effect.
Yeah.
Everything you see at E3, don't expect to see it anymore. Or is that the Ubisoft effect? It's one of the two.
Yeah.
You can probably say they're both. Ubisoft always shows off a game. You see it at E3, you're like, oh, this is going to look amazing. And you get the game and you're like, yo, why is that grass don't look like grass?
Well, yeah, I think a lot of times the games they're playing is on PC.
True. And it is generated for like at the highest possible graphics that you can get.
Well,
it's just like, it's from seeing that to seeing it come out as a release, it's just like that gap is just too huge. Mm-hmm. And granted, development of a video game is, I mean, look at what Epic Games came out when they talked about the most recent issues they have with all their people working 100 hours a week.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the trailers, you know, they're scripted for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, they're generated and they're like just videos basically, but it's generated in game. And then once you switch to the game, it's, well, we have to lower it to match its standards for the consoles or for a general PC because not everybody has 2080s or something like that.
I don't know. I think it's just the E3 effect with trailers now.
I mean, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with showing the trailers because I can't remember a trailer that when I got the game, I was like, wow, the trailer spoiled this part of the game for me. Like, most times they are pretty vague, and they're trying to show off the most, I guess, cinematic aspects of the game because the only thing I ever feel like they show you is graphics. They're, like, trying to show you how good this game looks, except for maybe Borderlands when they want to tell you, like, how many crazy-ass guns you're going to have.
Borderlands, you're getting Borderlands. Like, that's... What you saw at their release is what most likely is going to be at release itself.
But I mean, that game isn't like I guess it's not really graphics based. You know what I'm saying? It's like a different form. It's kind of like...
It's not graphic, it's the style you're getting.
Yeah. Kind of like Zelda Breath of the Wild. Like,
it's
a different style, but it looks really good. But it's like, I don't know, it's weird. It's not like realistic type graphics. But, so I don't have any issue with it. Like Roger said, I mean, we see so many trailers spread out over time. Like, I mean, this Final Fantasy trailer was just pretty much almost a remake of the old one with just some changes. So it was like they showed us the same exact sequence of events, but they just kind of showed us, you know,
what has happened over the past 4 years.
Yeah, but they didn't change it. I mean, they didn't, you know, add in any new information, really.
Nope.
So by the time it comes out, I won't remember those fucking trailers. So it's 7. You know the game anyway. You know, so in that part, it doesn't matter. But for a new game, like Last of Us 2, I just remember the person hanging up on the rope and them trying to save them. But I don't know where that happens at in the game.
True.
That could be at the beginning. That could be at the middle. Sometimes it couldn't even be in it. Like, what's that game with the fucking ship that we hate? That everyone took back because you couldn't be on the planets with people.
No Man's Sky.
Yeah. So it may not even been in the game. You don't even know. So that could have been just something they made to completely throw you off.
Trailer level. That's
You have to unlock it as you beat the game on the hardest level.
That is the biggest culprit of E3 effect right there.
I kind of think that, like Roger said, it's like a mix. You have some things like, you know, Bungie will do a live stream of a lot of stuff for Destiny, and then it kind of feels like it takes away from, at times, when they streamline too much information. I didn't watch the Borderlands 3 thing because I was like, I don't want to spoil it. So
I had to watch it.
So a lot of stuff, like, I tend to try to just stay away from because I don't want to spoil it in any way, shape, or form. But then you'll have people 2 months out before the game comes out with all sorts of information about it, people breaking NDAs left and right. So it's just like, I don't know. I try to stay away from it as much as possible because I just don't want to ruin any surprise that's had in game.
Yeah.
But
I had to watch that Borderlands 3 one.
I don't think it ruined anything though.
Nah,
I don't know. I didn't watch it. So I couldn't say if they gave too much information. Like Bungie sometimes gives too much information and they kind of takes away from the surprise or whatever. So
Yeah, well, this is kind of off topic just for a second because that's back to Borderlands 3 thing. One of the developers were walking around on developer kit and they're like, "Hey, let me see that real quick," and they just started shooting out guns for no reason. And back to the 1 billion thing. So I think there actually is 1 billion guns in there.
That's crazy.
I wonder how many base guns are in it though.
I was waiting for Terry to completely spoil it for Keith.
No. She just walked around when they were doing like the little show off of it, and she was just like, she clicked a button, and then she did something else, and she walked away, and the guy's face was like, "What the?" Next thing you know, all these guns just came shooting out of the game.
Dang.
I was just like,
well, they're always been known
got
for
me
their,
sold.
for their gun, amount. I don't know if there's 1 billion different guns. It's like just attachments, elements,
Counts as a gun.
different bullets that you can shoot out of the gun. That way you can get to 1 billion because there's so many different possibilities of one gun. Now, granted, I'm sure it's not going to be like 100 guns. They're probably going to be like 1,000 different guns in the game. Like they have a ton of guns. So,
But sorry, I digress. I had to say that. All right, go back to.
So last thing while we wrap up, what do you want to see from E3? What is something that you are really hoping to see? It could be some, new hardware. It could, whatever it is, what do you want to see come out of E3 for you personally?
I'll take it that's on me now.
Whoever
I would like. It would be interesting to see the PS5. I know that's been kind of rumored. I'm not sure if that's really confirmed yet or not, but of being in E3, I don't know.
They confirmed everything about it.
That's what I was getting at. So that would be interesting to see. I always like hardware, even though I just said software wins the battle, but new hardware is fun.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It shows the possibilities of software. That's why. Software makes it, but hardware allows it to happen.
Yeah.
I hope I see more discless consoles. I kind of like that Microsoft started that trend already. And then I'll be interested, actually, this kind of hardware, software, see if they expand on the cloud gaming more. Because I know Google kind of got their hand in that, and it seems like what Microsoft's doing that. Sony, I think, was kind of talking about it at some point. So seeing how that forms out will be interesting if they show that.
Didn't Google say they have a console?
I
mean, granted, it's just for cloud
The Google
gaming.
project was that demo thing, and they were going to make a platform for it. So I thought that worked wonderful with Assassin's Creed.
I remember you were playing that on a Chromebook? MacBook
Air.
Yeah, MacBook Air. And I mean, it looked just like the game to me.
Yeah. What am I looking forward to? Pokemon and possibly getting news on the new Nintendo Switch. I mean, we've heard rumors about them like, hey, we're making a new one.
You think it's going to be an XL? Like how they
I
did
don't
with
think
3DS?
so. I think it's going to be a completely overhauled one because
it's going to be the new Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, it'll be new Nintendo Switch. I know the last one the one that we have now has a lot of people can hack into it or jailbreak into it. However, it is.
They stopped that. I thought they republished them. Oh,
well, they
still get into it easily.
The first, first one before they found out people could do it. You can still get in them because it was a hardware issue.
Yeah.
So it was nothing they could fix on it. But then they started making the Switches that didn't have, I think, the chip in them or whatever it was people were doing. They pretty much fixed that. So all those Switches, you can't do it now. Granted, they probably could get in, some other way. If you lock them out one way, they're going to find a way in.
People always find a way. But the only issue I have with the current Switch that we do have now is just, you can tell it lags. There's certain games that can't handle too much of the load from the Switch. Or the Switch can't handle too much load from some of the games, so I'm interested to see how they up it up.
We all know about this hack stuff, but for the people who don't know what you can do, what can you do with this hack?
I don't know.
Sounds like
what is it? People put Windows Vista on the Switch now.
It's just to emulate. I mean, you can just start playing all the old games.
It kind of went to the homebrew style.
It's
like you can put
essentially what they've
software.
had the issue
now
with,
we all
with
know.
DS. Like the DS had that issue.
I mean, you know how they could have stopped that? Actually having a good fucking Nintendo online service. Stop doing special releases.
Nintendo,
you don't like the special game?
No, y'all will find out soon how much I hate that.
Start on the last level.
Oh, you played the special one?
Yeah.
That stupid ass game. I can't. Y'all will figure out my wrath for that.
Okay.
But
no, I'm done.
Oh, okay.
I want
I
a
didn't
new
want to cut you
Nintendo
off.
Switch. I'm done. That's a
obviously I'm looking for. Speaking of Nintendo Switch, the new one, yeah, but more Luigi's Mansion 3. Now I don't know if Luigi's Mansion 3 is going to come out on only the new one or this one as well, because I hope they don't follow like they did with the DS to where certain titles only played on the new 3DS. Because I purchased the 3DS like way after the fact, and I had no clue that was a thing, and I was like, oh, Donkey Kong Country on my 3DS, and it was like, no. This is the new 3DS. So you need that. And I was like, it's stupid.
Yeah, hopefully they don't alienate an entire group of people.
Yeah, so if they do bring out the new one, hopefully they don't do that. But definitely looking forward to Luigi Mansion 3, Last of Us 2, because it's fucking Last of Us 2. And obviously Pokemon Sword and Shield. Like, it's a Pokemon game, so. And it's going to be on the Switch, and hopefully. I'm just mad that they took the spawns out of it, though.
Yeah, the overall spawns, but I mean, I guess we'll see what happens, see what the features are and everything. So,
yeah, and maybe we'll see the new Call of Duty. I actually need a shooter to get back in besides Apex, and I rarely play that, so I need something. Yeah, I think that's about it. I can't think. Are they ever gonna make another Gears?
They are.
Yeah,
it comes out this year. I think.
Yeah, I think it is.
Oh, okay. Well then, maybe Gears.
I'm just looking forward to whatever comes out of Microsoft's camp, really. Mainly because I feel like it'd be bad if Microsoft does nothing and no one else does nothing, and that causes Sony to slack up or just be like, oh, we'll go away from what we're doing just because no one can beat us. And then
Nintendo Switch has Labo, and that's unstoppable.
I want
competition breeds, excellence. So when there's good competition around, normally that causes other people to put out good stuff. And Sony shouldn't. I mean, Sony currently is just doing it amongst themselves. Naughty Dog with Last of Us and Santa Monica with God of War, trying to figure out which one's top dog in that house. But all in all, I just hope that Microsoft does something that kind of wows everybody and begins the console wars again, so people can get cussed out on forums and all this other stuff.
I mean, it's their cycle. If you think about it, like it went PS2 won that generation. They dropped their Xbox after it, and they was like, we learned from our mistakes, and then they dropped 360 first, and then it killed PS3, and then now PS4 came out, and they beat them. So if it follows that timeline, Xbox is next.
Where does the Wii fit in? Like, did the Wii kill anybody, or was that just
the
a generation?
The Wii doesn't compete. Like,
No.
the Wii didn't compete with the 360 and PS3. The
It
Wii
was grouped in there, but there was that generation of consoles. But the problem with the Wii was it was hyped up for like 3 months. Like, everybody had it. Then nothing came out. And then that's where...
the Wii was great because it was like... It had its own niche.
Yeah.
It was something different. Like, it was like, look, we can't beat them more graphics. We're not going to even try to compete with that. And Nintendo never seems to want to win the graphics war. They want to win the family-friendly, everyone kind of just loves these games.
That's why they switched their model, because it was Wii U, which I don't even know anyone.
The Wii U flopped.
I was about to say, no one even purchased it, so they were like, people like us for mobile, we'll do the Switch where you can do both, and that kind of brought people back.
Yeah, because the Wii U wasn't enough of mobile gaming. But the Wii won because the Wii introduced the whole nunchuck and the motion gaming, and that was something new, and it worked pretty well. So especially with like Wii Sports. Wii Sports was huge. That by itself sold a lot of the Wii consoles, and then it was only $250 or $200.
It was $250 when it came out.
Exactly, and by that time the PS3 and the 360 was still $400 or $500 consoles. So it's like a lot of parents are going to look at it and be like, you get it, and then it was something that everyone could play. You could literally pick up a Wii stick and play easily. You didn't need a lot of background. So I feel like but it was the highest selling console, I believe.
I know at the beginning it was. I know at the end when we all had the Wii in bags in the closet somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
I think that's when it started dropping off, and I can't remember which one. It was probably the 360 at that point, probably passed it eventually. But I know at the beginning it was Madhouse. You couldn't even find the Switch.
You couldn't.
True.
I mean, not Switch, Wii, sorry.
It was the same thing with the Switch, though. When the Switch came out, you couldn't find them.
But they came out with flagship games like day one.
Yeah, I mean, you could buy a Switch and put it on eBay and flip it for like an extra $100 easy. It's a quick 100. I don't know why anyone wouldn't do that.
What kind of anger B?
B's at
He's
home
somewhere
like
turning in bed.
fuming.
Like,
He was talking about quick investments.
In the video game.
B was so mad about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up for Almost in Full Color podcast number 2. Be sure to hit that subscription button, notification button, wherever it may be. It's probably not even.
It's not under the table, Keith.
I can't wait till we get to podcast number 11 and Keith has to use his hands and one toe.
Then you get the feet viewers in.
Yeah. Finally get those feet viewers.
Anyways, this has been Roger, Terry, myself, Keith, and Gaines. We appreciate you, as usual. Be blessed and be easy. Peace.